Testing. Testing. Testing.
He's not here today.
Oh, Steve, you and I didn't. Okay. Okay, is everyone ready? We'll get started with the committee of the whole meeting. Thank you very much. Okay. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Virginia City Council Chambers. This is a regularly scheduled committee of the whole meeting. We'll call this meeting to order. Today's date is Tuesday, March 3rd, 2026. The time is 9 a.m. We have two presenters today, and then a list from finance personnel, and then building and grounds. So we do have a quorum present. I just want to note that Councilor Paulson and Councilor Motley are not attending today's meeting for prior commitments, and so we'll move on to the committee of the whole agenda. Britt?
Thank you. The first item on the agenda is an appearance by Adam Link of Fireweed Financial regarding a potential development on city-owned lot on 4th Street North.
Thank you. Mr. Link, just turn the light on to green.
All right.
Please formally state your name for the record and welcome to the committee of the whole meeting.
Thank you. My name is Adam Link, and I am with Fireweed Capital, and this is a presentation about the potential development for a city-owned lot on 4th Street. For those of you who don't know the parcel number offhand, this is the vacant lot across from the co-op near the Super One, right along the street there. All right, so let's talk a little bit about kind of who Fireweed Capital is and who I am first before we get into the proposal. Fireweed Capital is a wealth management firm based out of Britt, Minnesota, so just north of Virginia here. We've been in operation for a number of years now. About 2022 is when we got started. I've lived in the area in Britt for about 5 years now, so a longtime resident. Fireweed Capital has invested in multiple real estate projects throughout the United States, so we have experience owning and operating real estate. In addition, we are currently based in Britt, but looking to move to a new headquarters if we're able to, so that will be a part of this proposal as well. This slide is really here for everyone to read later. I'm not going to go through my background, but I've done a fair amount of things, and I have a pretty good background in both real estate and business. So the parcel that we're talking about here is the vacant lot across from the co-op near the Super One. It is about 2.1 acres. It is subdividable, and it is a high traffic area right near both grocery store retailers, union halls, dental offices, as well as a school, the hospital, and Olcott Park. So very close to a lot of key areas in Virginia. Now, what I want to do with this parcel is develop it into an indoor playground and an office building. The proposed project here, I'm actually working with DSGW as an architecture firm, so these are all ideas, not actual renderings. So we are still working on the actual building layout at this point in time. But just to give you a sense of kind of what the building would look like here. What we're envisioning is a more of a prefabricated, pre-engineered metal building on the location. The reason for this is we want ample space for an indoor playground area for the kids. And we also want to keep our construction costs reasonable to make this project actually possible to do for the community. On one part of the proposed building, we will have an office space. This is the place where I would like to move the headquarters of Fireweed Capital, as well as see if we can provide some Class A office space for other businesses in town. The objective here is not to be a new Class A office space building solely. We do have a lot of vacant office space in the Virginia area, but the idea here is, see if we can get one or two other folks who are working from outside the area, maybe out of their house, into the Virginia downtown core area. The crux of this project is an indoor playground. For those of you with children, we have a common problem here, which is there's no place to go in the winter. I've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and my kids frequently run around the house. And if they're not running around the house, we find that we are moving to Duluth to go somewhere for the weekend. And so the problem with that, obviously, is it's an hour-and-a-half drive to Duluth, and the problem for our city here is we're spending money outside of our city, and we are going to Duluth. Now, when you look at the range, Virginia is a city that is seeking to become really a gravitational spot on the range, to get people here. So when you think about what my family is facing and what other families with children are facing, we're going over to Duluth, which has that gravitational pull right now. So what if we were to create an indoor playground here and provide a reason for folks to stick around in the winter, and instead of driving an hour, they can drive 10 minutes? What we're envisioning here is a new build of an indoor playground. We are not going small. If it's a new build, we're going to do this thing right. We're going to make it a destination indoor playground for folks on the range. Our idea is to bring people from about 60 minutes around into the Virginia area. So we are setting up a large catchment area that we're hoping to draw people from. So we're envisioning a 7,000 square foot indoor playground, approximately 3 stories high. The idea here is a very large indoor play area that we can build a multiple level indoor play structure. The idea, of course, is to bring people from the surrounding communities to here and create a place for families to be in Virginia, obviously in the winter, but also during rainy days in the summer, which allows us to then continue to have support for our small businesses. The playground we're envisioning here, is a multi-level, kind of environment. If you've been to other indoor playgrounds down in the Twin Cities, think of something like Eagle's Nest, which is a city-owned playground. We're not going as large as something like a lava island in Eden Prairie. That is a multi-million-dollar build-out. I don't think that will fit with the character of the range up here. I think what we need is an accessible place that is affordable for families to come, that is not pricing people out, and is really available for the community. We are looking at a separate toddler area and an all-age area. Of course, that separation is important, but one of the important things about an all-age area is also looking at what can we do for folks as they approach the teen years to make sure that we are still providing a area for them to play as well. That is something I've heard from individuals with slightly older children as well, is that if you're not in sports, what do you do? And so we want to have something that grows with children as they grow up. So this is something that people can go to for a decade or more of their children's lifespan. We do want to have a party space. There are opportunities for hosting parties at other event centers in the area right now. Our objective is to provide an affordable space for parties to be hosted at an indoor playground. This is just something that many other indoor playgrounds have as well. Like any good idea, I went and tested the market. It's great being here on record, by the way, on a recording, because for those of you who are members of the Alerting the Citizens of the Iron Range Facebook group, there was a post on there about, is Play Iron Range really a thing? And I get to say, yes, it was, and I'm here to say, hi, I'm the person behind that page, Play Iron Range. So I'm a real person. We did do some marketing last week to gauge interest. I obviously want this as a parent, but it's not just me. This number is actually out of date from the time that I sent these slides in just a few days ago. We have over 320 families that signed up on our mailing list from around the Iron Range area that are interested in an indoor playground. When you look at the dispersion of folks, a lot of people came from Hibbing, about 20%. About 18% of our folks came from Virginia, another 10% from Eveleth. And then you can see from there, just kind of the main cities on the Iron Range: Chisholm, Mountain Iron, Gilbert, Embarrass, Ely. So we would be pulling from truly the entire Iron Range to our city. Next cool thing is how often people will be showing up. So we asked folks as they signed up on our list, how often would you come to an indoor playground? We gave them 4 options of weekly, 2 to 3 times a month, once a month, or a few times a year. And the vast majority of individuals who responded said they would show up weekly or 2 to 3 times a month. Now, if you start to look at where people are coming from and you look at our local community, that is turning this parcel from a place that we currently put snow in the winter into a real destination for the Iron Range. And our city gets to be the one that has it. When you look at the community engagement, we obviously had a ton of folks liking and commenting on our posts. We also had over 22,000 views of our page. This Facebook page is about a week old. Right? These are insane numbers. There's real demand for an indoor playground. So benefits to the city. I just looked up, what are the top indoor playgrounds on Google in Minnesota? And you can see here just a selection of ways that we could place as top indoor playgrounds as a city. And obviously, city names come up here, right? So this is an opportunity for the city of Virginia to also boost its stature statewide. There is a critical gap here. There is no indoor play area on the Iron Range. The closest thing we have is in Duluth, and that's a long ways away. So this is an opportunity for us to develop a parcel and create some jobs as well. So where are we at in our steps right now? Like I'd mentioned, we are partnered with DSGW as an architecture firm. We are actively working on the blueprints for this building. We need a place to put the building. Right now, the city owns this parcel, and so what I'm asking the city for is to engage with us on the next steps of turning this parcel from raw land into a place that we can build a building. And that would mean working with us, in some capability to transfer or give us permission to build on this parcel. We obviously need to get financing from local lenders. We are in talks with banks, and we are also in talks with local contracting companies in the Virginia area as well to help build this building. For those of you who are wondering, yes, we are also emailing IRRB and a number of other grant organizations around here, because obviously there is money from the state as well for something like this. That's the presentation. Happy to answer any questions from folks. And there's my phone number and email.
Thank you for the presentation. We appreciate it very much. This looks very exciting on the face. So we'll look for the council for some comments and questions. Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you. Thank you for coming and presenting this to us today. I didn't have any idea what this was, as I'm not on any social media. So I appreciate all of this, and I think it would greatly enhance what we can offer to young families and children in the area. Thank you.
Bachschneider?
Thank you. Thanks for this presentation today. I really appreciate it. I also serve on our Buildings and Grounds Committee, so I did see that initial presentation that came through as well. One question I have, so this would be both the indoor playground and your business as well, is that correct? And how would that, I'm just thinking from a business perspective, if it's also attached to an indoor playground, like how would that work from a business flow perspective?
Yeah, so we envision two entrances.
Okay,
right? So yeah, you'd have the entrance for the office space and then a separate entrance for the playground.
Great, thank you. And then Jenny, I know we made, or Britt, or Pam or anyone, I guess, we made a motion at the Buildings and Grounds Committee, and I don't recall exactly what that motion was. And then did that already come to Committee of the Whole, which would have been 2 weeks ago, and pass, or where are we at in this process? Did we make a motion or did I?
There was, I believe, well, the mayor's not here, but I believe we did, there was a motion to continue working with Dr. Link on this, which we've been in communication, and which is why he's here today to present.
Okay, perfect. So then what would next steps look like if this is something we choose to move forward on?
My understanding would be next steps might entail like closed session to discuss real estate negotiations.
Perfect, thank you.
Councilor Johnson?
Thank you, Dr. Link, for coming in. Yes, is the short answer. You have obviously put a lot of time and effort into this, and I think that the word that I caught most was accessible, and I appreciate that. I do a lot of work in the schools, and there is a need for accessibility for individuals with physical limitations as well as sensory limitations. So that you utilize the word accessible really struck a chord with me and my children. So I will move to authorize staff to immediately start working with Fireweed Capital on the next steps moving forward.
Support.
That's been moved by Councilor Johnson and supported by Councilor Bachschneider. Is there any discussion? Councilor Johnson?
Thank you. And since I'm going to be asking this question regularly from now on, and my motion was to have it start immediately, so I do believe that does not mean it needs to go to the Tuesday night for final authorization, since my motion did include immediately.
It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bachschneider.
Thank you. And just to confirm with staff, this would also include closed session meetings going forward with the council. Perfect, thank you. And then I do agree with the immediately. I think past practice when we've done immediately motions, and I could be incorrect in this, is that the work starts immediately, but we still bring it to the council meeting for that final approval, but the work can start immediately. That's, I recall, like if we've sent out letters or things like that. And then one other unrelated thing, but I think, Pam, you said that we did not have a motion at Buildings and Grounds. So this is our first motion in relation to this. So I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Bachschnider. Counselor Johnson?
I would disagree with that, as we created a hiring freeze that did not come to the city council for final approval. So I just want to make sure we're being consistent, that if sometimes we're doing stuff here at this level that happens that does not need to come to council, that it not come to council then, because the hiring freeze never came to the council for final approval. And as displayed by the lawyer, our city attorney at the last meeting, sometimes that's okay. And that is why I phrased my motion the way I did. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Counselor Johnson. Counselor Bachschnider?
Thank you. My understanding from Attorney Lindsay's presentation last week was the hiring freeze and other things that are at special committee of the whole meetings do not go to the council meeting, but since this is a regularly scheduled committee of the whole meeting, the word immediately would mean the actions can begin immediately, but we still bring that to the council meeting. That was my takeaway from Attorney Lindsay's presentation last week. So if I understood incorrectly, I'm happy to get clarification on that, but that was my understanding.
And I think by bringing it to the committee of the whole, back to the council meeting, gives the public an opportunity to weigh in and listen in that regard as well. But Pam Levine, our city clerk. Pam, you have a question or a comment?
Thank you. That is correct, Councilor Bachschnider. And then also, when the minutes are on the agenda at the council meeting, they are there for approval. So at that time, if there are questions, they can be brought up regarding the minutes as well, because those also get approved.
Counselor Bachschnider?
Thank you. So just for final clarification, if I'm understanding this correctly, the difference is if it's a regularly scheduled committee of the whole meeting or a special committee of the whole meeting. And since this is a regular committee of the whole meeting, that's what makes it different than, for example, the hiring freeze. Is that correct? Thank you.
And I believe that's the understanding I have too from our city attorney as well. Pam?
And one other suggestion going forward, and maybe Britt, you can weigh in on this. Any of those meetings should just be posted as a special meeting going forward, not special committee of the whole.
Okay, thank you. I think that's a wise clarification and adjustment to be made to clarify the issue that we're dealing with today. Counselor Johnson?
So in my understanding, when it's convenient to have something not come to a Tuesday night meeting, we're okay with that. But when it's not convenient, we're going to drag the process out. I really feel that this is about transparency, and that when it's convenient for us to make sure we're going through every single step, we do. But when a majority of people want things to happen very quickly, we don't. So I'm really confused about why the process needs to be different because of the word special, because that would, if we called these special committee of the whole meetings just as a title, that would mean we wouldn't need to have Tuesday night meetings anymore. Like I'm really trying to understand why we need to meet for 20 to 30 hours a month, and most of the agenda items are the same at most of those meetings. And I guess what I would like is an actual written guideline so that I can understand and I can explain to the people asking me, why are some meetings special committee of the whole meetings and things can get voted on and then it's fine, but other special of the committee whole meetings go to the regular committee to the whole or regular meeting for final approval and not. I mean, there's zero consistency at this point as to exactly what's happening. And I'm getting a lot of questions from my constituents about why some things are done the way they are and some things are not. And it really frustrates me that something as important as a hiring freeze never came to the final city council for final clarification anyway. So if that's what we're going to do, then I would request that anything decided at a special committee of the whole meeting have a special spot on the agenda that says these items were decided at a special committee of the whole meeting that was not during a regular time, so that the public has an opportunity to see that as well, because a lot of times, some meetings aren't necessarily always live streamed, which is just a fact of life, but also then going back and finding them. So I think there's the way that we can make sure we're being clear about everything and not just picking and choosing when someone has a question or what happens because it was a special committee, but it wasn't a special committee, but it was a special regular meeting, but it wasn't a regular special meeting. The semantics here is getting way out of proportion, and it seems to be purposely confusing, so we can say we're being clear and transparent, but the actual practicality of being transparent is not happening. Thank you.
First of all, thanks for coming. Okay? Thank you. I appreciate the appreciation. It's a very well-focused, a great opportunity for us to move forward. Obviously, the motion that's on the floor at this point in time is to allow us to move forward with this. This is a procedural issue that the council is now debating at this time. We'll figure that out. How we name the meetings that we have, but it's not going to affect what we're doing here today. So if you just have just a couple more minutes of your time, we appreciate it very much. Okay, thank you. First, Pam, and then we'll go over to Councilor Boxsnyder. Pam?
Thank you, Mayor. Councilor Johnson, I'll try and explain this a little bit.
I don't need an extra explanation. I understand. I understand what the attorney said to me. I understand what you have emailed and said to me. I don't agree with it.
Okay, can I please continue, Mayor?
Yeah, please continue, and then we'll go to Councilor
So
Boxsnyder.
for the benefit of the
and
rest
back.
of the council. So I've been a clerk for almost 26 years. And basically, the only two meetings that motions cannot be made at are your work sessions and public hearings. Those go to a regular council meeting. A regular council meeting is just called a regular council meeting. If you have that out of your ordinary 2 meetings a month, you're scheduling a special meeting. And you can also make motions there. So there's those 2 meetings. When I came to work in Virginia, things were a little different. Basically, the committee of the whole meetings here were from they were listed as committees. So you had a finance committee, you have a personnel, you have insurance, building and grounds, street and alley. So all those meetings were put together on the Tuesday morning agenda for discussions. Those all went to the council meeting for secondary approval. Once, so then the council agreed not to do the small committee meetings and just wanted the committee of the whole meeting as one. So that changed a little bit, but I recall the attorney at one of our committee of the whole meetings when this discussion was had a while back, these are meetings. We are reiterating what we're doing at this meeting at the Tuesday night meeting next week. So what does happen here or at any of those special meetings that are posted, those motions are valid motions. So the process does need to get clarified a little bit better, because we are doing things twice. So that's just my input on that. So that's kind of how things have worked. But a meeting is a meeting, whether it's at 6:30 at night or 9 in the morning.
Okay, and then my conversation with our city attorney was the fact that a committee whole was like a working session. So is this a procedural thing we need to change, adjust, to make more clear? Would you please read back the motion first, and then we'll move to the other two councilors for comment.
Moved by Councilor Johnson, supported by Councilor Boxsnyder to approve city staff to immediately begin the process of working with Mr. Link, Fireweed Financial on the proposed development on 4th Street North.
Okay, thank you. Further discussion. Counselor Bachschnider and then over to Counselor Beyondich.
Thank you. First, can we call for the vote on this as our conversation has totally changed? So I'd like to call for the vote and then we can pick up this conversation after.
Yep, thank you for that. There's a call for the vote by Counselor Bachschnider. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Counselor Bachschnider.
Thank you. And again, thank you for coming in. Appreciate it. The only other thing that I want to add, just for the clarification of the general public, is all special committee of the whole meetings do end up at our city council meetings on Tuesday night. Those minutes are in the consent agenda, and the consent agenda is available for everyone to read and review. So we are not trying to hide anything from you. It is all available for you to look at. So we are not hiding anything, I promise. It's there. Please read the consent agenda minutes if you are interested. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So we are going to be moving forward, sir, and just one more Counselor Beyondich.
Thank you. And this has nothing to do with you. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I also agree with Pam, as I've been at committee meetings, or small committee meetings where we are voting, and I ask, isn't this going to the committee of the whole and then onto the council? And the answer is yes. So why are we doing this 3 times? So I agree. I think things need to be cleaned up, tightened up. We have a committee of the whole meeting that includes all of those committees to discuss, and that's what that's for. So in my opinion, you either have the small committees or you have the committee of the whole. We're duplicating and spending more time on things than we need to. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. One more thing, Pam, and then we can put this to bed for the time being until we can figure it out.
Thank you.
Pam.
I think the committee of the whole meetings are to vet everything out and have the discussion, where at the council meeting, it's basically approving what you've already approved or disapproved,
And that's the purpose.
so that the council meetings aren't 5 hours long. You're kind of vetting everything to minimize that going forward.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming in. We were excited about this project moving forward. The motion is to move forward with it immediately with staff to start working on this. And Jenny, you're part of this process as well. So thank you. Thanks for coming in. We look forward to working with you further to get this project to come to fruition.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Very much. Item number 2 is Patrick and Kelly Finnegan from Finnegan's Farm for an update on the proposed business to be located at 603 9th Street North.
I see Mr. and Mrs. Finnegan is in the audience today, so would you please come forward? And thank you for the accepting invitation to come and give a little presentation, not only to the council at large here, but also the public who's sent home to have some clarity, and we may have some additional questions for you. So once again, please turn the mic on to green. Please state your name for the record and the company that you represent, and welcome to the committee of the whole meeting.
My name's Kelly Finnegan, and I represent Finnegan Farms, LLC.
Patrick Finnegan, also Finnegan's Farm, LLC.
Okay, thank you.
This is
Yep, please continue.
We're just here to further discuss the property and going forward on the zoning and making sure that we were making progress to get to the building and do some of the retrofits we need to accomplish.
Okay, so as you are well aware of, the city hasn't taken action on the motion for the approval or not approval or any action taken with respect to the registration piece of this process, which we're seeking right now, right? And so that part of that process is the zoning issue. So if you're here to answer some questions, if you'd like to make a more of a presentation ahead of time or just answer the questions, that's up to you. So if you'd like to just go with the question format at this time, we can move to that.
that would be great.
Thank you very much, Councilor Johnson.
Well, thank you for taking the time out of your small business to come here and talk with us today. I see no issues with what you're trying to make happen. I appreciate your time and effort. I appreciate the thought you've put into this, and I really hope that that we are able to understand as a body that what you are doing is a highly regulated, and you've done a metric ton of work already to be successful in your existing business, and that you have chosen Virginia to expand your business, to bring in tax dollars, to bring in traffic that won't necessarily come into Virginia, is amazing. My question would be, could you please describe for me as an individual living in town, if I were to come into your business and purchase your product, what would that process look like for me as an individual?
Well, we are going to do our best to try to create a warm, welcoming, and very professional dispensary to the community.
So I guess my question is not everybody understands what a dispensary is. There seems to be this unspoken assumption that my 11-year-old can walk into your walk into your establishment, put $20 on the counter, and come out with enough for her and her friends to take a little trip. So if you could go way back to a brand new person walking by your store, what would that look like for them to be able to access and purchase your product?
Immediately at the door, no one under the age of 21 is allowed inside the building.
You move the microphone just a little closer.
Sure, I
please.
can
You can move
step-
it down towards you.
Okay.
Yep.
There will be a secured lobby that you will enter, and you will have to immediately present your ID, which will then be put into the metric system and the Dutchy POS system for verification. The door that will lead to the dispensary is electronically locked and will have an alarm system and sensors if anybody that does not have an ID badge or a button to unlock the door to allow that person, after they've been verified, to go into the dispensary. And then they will be able to, like I said, we're really trying to create something that's very warm, welcoming, calming, professional to our clientele, and allow them to take some time to educate themselves once they are within the facility to purchase what's best used for them. And that, what we have found, I'm turning 64 here in a matter of weeks, and I have more friends, girlfriends from high school, Virginia, that are now using gummies for sleep and pain. And so that's, I would say at least 20 to 25% of our clientele will be that age group, that demographics. So once
Okay. And I'm asking you questions so that everybody who's watching can have the same information from the professionals.
Yes.
There is a lot of misinformation about the type of clientele that are expected to be hanging around your door. And so I would just I'm really trying to clarify who that would be. And do you have the ability to deny service to anybody who tries to come into your facility?
Yes, we do.
So if obviously intoxicated or challenged individual were to come into that first locked area, would you think they would be able to come in? You can't be, I'm just asking generic questions.
I'll take this.
Please.
So circling back, the Office of Cannabis Management, as you said, is this maybe over-regulated this, but that's a good thing. So yes, we'll be presented with ID at the door before you could enter. For that, there'll be a judgment on our clients and people that have doing business in said building, and we'll have security for that exact reason. And I think like any business, a bar, restaurant, you have to make those judgment calls. It's not easy at times, but if you're loitering or if you're caught doing things that are not what we have in our rules for on-site, you will be asked to leave, and you could get trespassing on your next visit if that's how far we need to go into that. So for us, we expect professionalism even from our patrons.
Okay, I appreciate that. And that's been my experience when I've been at other places, is that, I guess, here's another question that just popped into my head. Can you give a range of the cost of what you plan on selling? Like, what would a typical person be spending and what would they be purchasing?
Well, as this industry's evolved quite substantially with products in the last 20 years here, we're seeing that you could have it in a drink, you could have it in a edible, you could have a raw product as smokable or combustible. That could go as far as a pre-roll, as they're considered for a cigarette. They're called pre-rolls in the industry. You could go as far as to a concentrate. So that would be for your, like higher medical patients that need a little bit more potency. And we also can have things all the way to, as my uncle would say, I need some Vietnam veteran stuff that I can function on. I don't need 30% THC. So we will have all over the range to suit different ailments and people's needs, from percentages, from very safe percentages, all the way to concentrates that will definitely help more medical people that have ailments that they are trying to get on top of.
Thank you. Will you be allowing any on-site consumption of your product?
No, we would have had to check another box as an endorsement. We did not do that. We did not feel comfortable with that personally, and that's not how we wanted to run the business. So therefore, we elected not to go forward with on-site consumption.
Okay, and I know Brian's not here, but it is my understanding that in the state of Minnesota, it is not legal to consume cannabis in public spaces. Is that part of the law?
It is part of the law, but we do have Brian
Okay.
on the line if you'd like to hear from him.
Mr. Lindsay, did you hear my question, sir?
I did, Counselor, and that is correct. The Clean Air Act prohibits smoking any type of combustible in most public spaces.
Thank you. So if perchance someone were to purchase something in your establishment legally, step outside onto the sidewalk and begin to consume smoking it, a neighbor or a concerned citizen could definitely call 911 immediately, and that, or you could even do that yourselves and have that problem rectified immediately.
Correct. We hope to have our security on top of that and not waste resources for the city. But if it comes to that and we need to set an example, we have no problem doing that.
Perfect. I think those are all the notes that I had. I truly appreciate your patience with this process, and I really hope that we are able to get you going and get you moving forward. As a city that wants to grow, this is another opportunity for us as a city to support small business, local small business, as the presentation before, and to be able to ensure that variety of people from variety of walks and lives are getting their needs met. I have no problem saying that I take gummies from time to time, especially because of this job in the evening to sleep. But it also is, I have many friends who utilize medical marijuana, medical cannabis for medical reasons, from pain to anxiety to cancer treatment. So the challenge that we're having, and I said this before, and I will say it again, I do believe is a generational thinking challenge. And I think folks like you are helping to rectify that and help folks understand that medical marijuana and recreational consumption cannabis, in my world at least, is actually safer than alcohol, because it's much easier for me to regulate what I'm consuming. I know the effects of what I'm going to do if I take 2.5 or 5 or 7.5, as opposed to ordering a couple of drinks at a bar, and depending on which bartender is there, it may take 1 or it may take 3. So thank you. You have my full support on this moving forward, and I will continue to push that we get this done as soon as possible for you folks. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. So for me, I'm going to set, as we had this previous meeting before you were coming publicly, and of course I expressed my concerns and personal views, which I set aside at this point in time, and I'll probably make some comments at the council meeting when in the evening hours about certain things. But for me, it's about the law, and the law is the law. And the Minnesota State passed a law, or we're mandated to put this into place. My only issue at this point in time, before it goes to the council meeting for some additional information, is the fact that is the parcel of property that you are looking to put your business in, does that meet the zoning requirements set forth based upon our ordinance? And according to our community development coordinator and all the work that she's done with planning and zoning, the recommendation is yes, it does comply with the zoning ordinance currently written within our ordinance. And secondly, I think at the last council meeting, our city attorney also indicated that in his view, in his opinion, based upon that it does meet the zoning requirements and allowing you to put your business there. So my concern is well, it's more than that, but if the zoning is amenable, then, we could likely move forward, and that's a big stickler for me. Does it meet the zoning requirements or not? And the second piece of that is that what is the challenge for the businesses that you have? There's been talk about parking, there's been talk about that's all available there at that particular location. My only concern at this point in time doesn't meet the zoning requirements, and to clarify to the general public, as we are all trying to do here, is that we're not approving a license for you to operate a cannabis business in Virginia. It is a license that's approved by the state of Minnesota. All the long and arduous process you have to go through in order to meet the state requirements in that regard has been overwhelming in some respects. But so for us, is about the state law requires us to issue one because we're at least one for every 12,500 population. When we're in that, we have to issue at least one. And so you're the one who's come to us before that. And so so it's the registration that we're approving, not the license. You've already are obtaining the license. We approve this registration. That triggers the next step in the process of investigations and from the state of Minnesota and working with you to try to make sure you're in compliance. And there are cannabis open houses come all over the place now. I wish they were before. Some of us will likely have to go to that. So for me, it's about zoning. So my question is, once again, Brian, based upon your research and based upon your concerns, does it meet the zoning requirements based upon what you've researched?
Thank you, Mayor. So I have not learned any additional information that changed my original opinion. Based on what I know and the information that's been passed along to me, we don't have a definitional school or daycare center. There's programming that exists in that facility across the street, but the programming, as I understand it, does not care. And so I do believe that this would be permitted under a zoning.
Okay, thank you. Jenny, any additional comments that you have with respect to this process that you've been working through for many months?
Thank you, Mayor. I have no additional comments other than to concur with our legal counsel that this does in fact meet the zoning requirements and our ordinance requirements.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments from the council? Any questions moving forward? Any motions to be made? Councilor Beyondich, then Councilor Skelko. Councilor.
You had yours on.
Okay, Councilor Skelko. Councilor Skelko.
I'm good.
Go ahead.
Councilor Skelko.
I just want, the one thing that, and again, Steve, you hit it head on and you asked a lot of great questions, thank you. But can you just give a briefing about the regulation side of it? I've heard a lot of the last place on earth, and that's, I think that you hit it right on the head. It's a scare thing. It's an unknown thing. It's educating people. So could you just give a quick rundown on the difference between of a last place on earth compared to a dispensary that you're going to be opening up? And
Sure, having been, have a resident of Virginia to Duluth, we were all aware of Jim's practices, and some of them were selling things that everyone else was selling, and Jim chose to take a route and create things that weren't regulated, ordering them from China to Indonesia to East Asia countries, and then decided to start making stuff in his basement at the last place on earth. So I've had friends that are in the FBI drug task force. I was filled in on a lot of it, and Jim could have walked away with millions of dollars in his pocket. He chose to fight the state and the federal government on it. It was a bad decision. He was selling a really bad product that, again, wasn't regulated, and to a point where we didn't even know what was in it, if people were to use this. And a lot of people were putting it in the same context of cannabis or marijuana, which was really concerning to me. So for me, knowing medical cannabis and studying and learning on it for the last 25 years, traveling to countries that have researched it, from Germany to Holland to Switzerland, I was like, well, definitely the reefer madness is still out there. It's always going to be with certain people, but for us having the prohibition that we had, it actually helped Jim do what he was doing. So for us to have such strict laws on the cannabis, Jim took advantage of that and was selling an even, worse product, which again wasn't regulated. And for us now, flipping the script, we will be again so regulated that it is frustrating at times what we've just had to go through without even having a product yet. So for us, strict lab requirements, in-state testing, we're seeing actually some issues with only being 2 labs, so we're all kind of going to be in line to get things on the shelf. Nothing's going to be fast-tracked because of that. We are just limited on our testing facilities, our analytical labs. Hopefully in the future, they build more and we get more businesses taking that route. For us, we know the route we're taking. We're heading on the organic side of things. We don't use any pesticides. Roundup, there's no glyphosate on our farm. There's no bad synthetic pesticides, fungicides. Everything we use is OMRI, is organic certified by a third party. So we have to, even all the way down to our fertilizer, we have to have everything cataloged with the state. So before I give a plant a supplement, it has to be recorded. So that is, for me, I believe that regulation is great. There's still a lot of players in the black market in legal states doing bad things and putting bad stuff on the plants and feeding it bad stuff. I think in Minnesota, we've proven in this low-dose industry that's come now, we've done this the right way. We've tested our products in our backyard, and as we know, we're passionate to do things the right way in Minnesota, especially how I feel in the 218, being a member of the 218 my whole life. Very proud to do things the right way here in the Arrowhead. We will just be taking that direction on as wholesome, organic, and like we've said in the past meeting, leaning more towards the medical side of it. And yes, you're 21 plus, you can make a decision, but our views are this has always been a medicinal plant. And so that's why we feel confident in taking this journey we've taken.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for bringing up the last place on earth. It was last week before. In my previous career, I had some peripheral with respect to the investigative piece of that. This has nothing to do with last place. It's a completely different environment. A lot of illegal activities, not only from the sales side, from the manufacturing side, from the financial side. It was a nightmare. This has nothing to do with last place on earth. So thank you for bringing that up. Councilor Beyondich.
And thank you for all the education I've received today. I do know about your business, and it is a very well worth business, and you've done your work, and that's not where I'm coming from. And I think if you saw the last meeting, my concerns are coming from the residents and the location. It has nothing to do with the selling of the cannabis. I understand it. I've read upon it, I've researched it. But when I hear from constituents about the location, and in particular, a longtime resident who has been here all his life, I believe, invested heavily across the street, that may displace some business there. And I listen to my constituents. They put me in this seat. I represent them. And that is kind of where I'm coming from. And I think what they have been telling me is when I don't bring things forward, the trust erodes. in government. They elected me to sit here and to listen to them. And whether I agree or disagree with them, that is part of my job. And that is what I am doing. I am listening to the constituents that have reached out to me and talked to me about this and their concerns. And I truly appreciate the people who feel open enough to come and speak to me. So thank you.
Thank you. So, this was a long time coming. Our planning and zoning got together, the city. This is where our ordinance is. This is where we're at. The law requires us to give a license or a registration to approve access to that. You get the license, all that work has been done. But peel away the onion, it's, how is this going to be a safe environment? And so when they talked about the last place, I think this has nothing to do with that. I went and visited 4 dispensaries in Colorado. There is a dispensary in Hibbing. I was there yesterday. And so it's the same controlled environment that the state law requires. This is the same proposal that you're bringing us today. So it's not about providing it. It's not about the safety and security of it. It's not about having the license to do it. For me, it's about the zoning. And so I get in that regard. And then I will also, I'll have some personal stories to share just for the edification and where I stand personally, but professionally, I have an obligation to represent the city just like Councilor Beyondich does and the constituents, and it's all about following the law. And so whatever is necessary to follow the law, that's what I'm going to do. Councilor Bachschneider.
I think Councilor Johnson.
Okay, first Councilor Johnson and then over to Councilor Bachschneider. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I would move to place this zoning approval on the council meeting next Tuesday for final approval.
Support for discussion.
A move by Councilor Johnson, supported by Councilor Bachschneider, to move to the city council for further discussion or what would be final approval of the zoning. Pam?
So the zoning is approved. The only thing we need to approve is their registration.
I would amend it to say registration then. Thank you.
Support.
Okay, the amendment on the motion is to change it from zoning to the registration, support by Councilor Bachschneider. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bachschneider.
Thank you. First, Patrick and Kelly, thank you for coming in today. I really appreciate it. I concur with a lot of things that have been said today. I've had dozens of residents reach out to me about this as well, truly on both sides of the spectrum. Ultimately, where I'm coming from in my support for this is that we hear from residents all year long that, we need to increase business, we need to increase housing, our taxes are too high, we need to do all these things. And then sitting in this seat, it feels like every time we have a new proposal of a new business, we're getting booed about it. And it's like, I feel very torn on what to do because I feel very, very strongly in expanding business when we can. And yes, would I personally prefer to see this business in downtown because I believe in the mission of revive and revitalizing our downtown? Of course, I would prefer that. But you can't always get what you want, and I'm really excited about a business opportunity, and I truly believe that that's something that we should be supporting as a council. So I will be happily supporting this. And I also do say this as a resident who is butted up right next to a business district. I'm on South Side in Virginia, but I have businesses in my backyard. So I do really recognize how a business can impact you residentially. But I really think that in this particular neighborhood, and please correct me if you think I'm incorrect, but I could see the security that your business has actually really benefiting this neighborhood. I used to live 2 blocks away from this. I had a rental house on North Side. And I think that this security could actually really benefit the neighborhood from that perspective. So again, thank you for coming in today, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
And there also has already been a motion in support to move this to the council meeting for a discussion and a vote. Councilor Beyondich.
Thank you. And as I said at the last meeting, if it impacts businesses leaving that have been here and affecting the facility that so much was put into to attract that type of work, even though it doesn't fall under the scope of the legal. If they leave, that would make me very sad, to bring in one business but lose other businesses. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And by moving this to the council meeting for additional discussion and a vote, it also gives the people from the community an opportunity to also prepare if they want to come and make any statements or in that regard. So under the council agenda, there's appearances where individuals can come and give their opinion about that. And we anticipate there'll be some coming to that meeting on Tuesday night. So thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it very much. You've clarified a lot of things, particularly for the general public, and we look forward to us moving forward again. So before you leave, we'll have a couple more comments from the council. First, Councilor Skelko, and then back over to Councilor Beyondis. Councilor Skelko.
Yes, yeah, I just wanted to chime in on this, and I was going to speak directly to Greg and Earl, but I see they left. But I do want to, if they listen back on this, I want to thank them for everything they do, that they have put their time into this town, they have done their due diligence, and I really would like to work with them in the future on debating issues and all that good stuff. But, change is, I'm definitely green to this. I'm gonna be honest. 2 months into this, it's been fun. And, what I've learned quickly in this role is that every choice that I make impacts people differently. And it's, residents, businesses, families, and sometimes ways we don't immediately see. I put my name in the hat to be on this council because I want to see the change in this city. I want change. So I said, hey, instead of sitting here yelling, I'm going to join the council and we're going to bring the change. So, here we are today talking about cannabis. It's, who would have thought that would have been my first big topic of making decisions for the city of Virginia. But hey, it's the world we live in and the change we have. So first, thank you guys so much for coming in. It's been a pleasure working with you guys and talking to you over the last week. And Finny, we got to get together here sooner than later. But what I want to tell people is something I will not do. I will not support decisions that hurt the long-term health of this town, any business that already call this home. Second, I'm not going to go against the codes, the regulations, the laws, the ordinance, the zoning that this city has put in place. We have put in place this zoning. This was agreed upon by this city council. Now we're sitting here saying, hey, let's not put the business here because it doesn't fit our personal opinions. So that's something I will not do. I am going to put my personal feelings aside on everything when it goes with the city ordinances. So let's just be honest here. We're all sitting here with our own perceptions on this cannabis and everything. And I really, truly thank you guys for educating us today a little bit and giving us insights on what you're going to be doing. So the facts. The team of folks here today, including Jenny, Brian, Pam, they have worked tirelessly and fantastic job they did vetting this project. They made sure all the T's were crossed, the I's were dotted, and that this dispensary meets all the requirements to locate in the spot that it wants to locate. So from my legal perspective, based on the work being done, the confirmation of Mr. Lindsay today and the last meeting, denying this registration of full compliance would place this city in a very difficult legal position. So why the continued pushback? It's simple. I think Councilor Johnson hit the nail right on the head during the last meeting and some today. It's perception. It's the lack of education around the topic at hand. Hopefully today we have a little bit from you guys that have given people a little bit of breath of fresh air of what's coming. So my perspective, Earl's building across the street is a topic of conversation. They fought it. Your building across the street, Earl, is not going to lose its reputation for a lack of better words. I also have spoken to many people in this area, many of them who have children, and a vast majority of them stated they would not hesitate to bring their kids to a daycare or a really cool activity center, indoor activity center with the dispensary across the street. Growth doesn't always mean more of the same. Sometimes it means rethinking our community needs and being creative and open about the future. Activities for kids, housing, a cafe. In my mind, it's a cafe and a dispensary. You got to have your food when you have your dispensary. So there is creative and fun ways to create life into the building across the street. For the surrounding neighborhoods that have the concern, this is going to be one of the most regulated and secured retail stores in Virginia. The drugstore that once ran here didn't cause any issues with traffic, nor will this one. the stigma that once defined certain topics has changed. And as I said, many folks and families in this community are seeing things through a very different lens and have that as a positive addition to Virginia. So with that said, I mean, I fall back on my earlier statement. I will not support decisions that hurt the long-term health of this town or businesses that I already call it home. So for me, I'm going to be voting yes. I support this 100%. It meets all the codes, it meets all the regulations, it meets everything that is required to do it, and it aligns with my responsibility as a counselor. So I hope all the counselors agree. I hope it's a 7-0, that we welcome Patrick and Kelly with open arms and that we move forward, and I can't wait to see what you guys do with the place.
Thank you, Councilor Skelko. Councilor Beyondich?
Thank you. And I will speak for the constituents that have reached out to me. I was voted by the people to sit here and listen, and that's what I do. I don't personally have to agree with what is going on or not going on, but when people come to me, they put the X by my name to vote for me to represent them. That I take very seriously. When you say people have a chance to come and speak next Tuesday evening, I will tell you right now, most of them will not. Because they have come, they've been ridiculed, they've been put down. They will not come and speak before this council. I am their voice. So, like it or not, I'll be the one speaking. Thank you.
I concur. I'll be doing the same thing on next Tuesday night as well, based on the overwhelming calls that I've received about this issue. So let's call for the vote. Would you please read back the motion, please?
Moved by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Bachschnider to approve the cannabis registration application for Patrick and Kelly Finnegan doing business as Finnegan's Farm at 603 9th Street North.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
No.
Okay, roll call, please, Pam.
Johnson?
Aye.
Motley is absent. Paulson is absent. Beyondich?
No.
Bachschnider?
Aye.
Delco?
Aye.
Huffy?
Aye at this level of government, so aye. Motion passes 4-1. Okay, thank you. Any other final comments from the Finnegans and your business with respect to this? It will go to the council meeting next Tuesday, and then we'll proffer a vote then.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One final comment.
Yep.
We did do a lot of due diligence, and like Justin said, there is still a lot of stigma in this industry. Unfortunately, I thought we would be more on the time frame like Colorado and Michigan, being a progressive state. We would not want to hurt any businesses, whether it's an adult autism center or a community center or anything. We've, again, done our due diligence. The Valentinis have a very respectable name on the range, starting their restaurant in Chisholm. The dispensary in Hermantown is next door to a Valentini's restaurant, and I've heard zero complaints about operations of any businesses they're next to in said strip mall on the backside of a neighborhood that my friend lives in Hermantown. So for us, we have no inclination on hurting any businesses, and we just hope to thrive and do things the right way. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. Okay, Britt, next item on the agenda, please.
The next item on the agenda is discuss the bids received for City Hall and Library steam conversion.
Mr. Reed, thank you very much for your patience. Matt Reed, our engineer of record from SCH, welcome, and let's look at those bids.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Mayor.
Good morning, thank you.
In your packet, we did open bids. We did receive 4 of them, which was encouraging for sure. And you can see the bid tabulation is included. It's sideways here in my, there we go. You can see the 4 bids we did receive were reasonably close, all things considered when you're talking that magnitude of project costs. right around, the low bid was right around what our estimate was. So we're looking at currently Independence Heating and Cooling at a low bid of $2,739,000. So I think there's going to be some discussion, I suspect, on funding. But my recommendation at this point is to go ahead and award the project to Independence Heating and Cooling. I'd be happy to try to answer any questions.
Your bid. I will move to award the bid as presented and suggested by your city engineer.
Councilor Johnson, move to award the bid for City Hall to, what's the name of the company?
Independence Heating and Cooling.
Independence Heating and Cooling. Is there support?
Support for discussion.
Support by Councilor Skelko for discussion. Further discussion, before we go to Councilor Skelko, if the bids are awarded and then we start, will we be able to complete the conversion on both the City Hall and the library by the deadline of October of 2026?
Assuming that it gets awarded real soon and they can get started as soon as we can shut the heat off in the spring, yes. If for some reason they fall behind, there is a stipulation in the contract for temporary heating for City Hall and the library in case something unforeseen happens and they're not able to do it. So there is stipulations to account for making sure that we're covered there.
Okay, so that affects the contract then. If they don't have to provide the alternative heating, that could reduce the cost associated with the entire bid. Is that correct or not?
It's built into, they're expecting to get it done in time. So I don't know that any of them really built in the cost. That's going to be on them if they don't get it done in time.
Thank you very much, Matt. Councilor Skelko?
I just had a clarifying question. I've been thinking about this since I got here, but when we do the bids, it says you guys come up with the proposal, you do your bids. Now, do the contractors actually see the number that you have presented? Say you said 2.4 million. Do contractors see that prior to bidding on the job?
It depends. On this one, I don't think they did.
Okay.
Sometimes if they call and they ask for the engineer's estimate, oftentimes they'll ask because they're trying to figure out what their bonding cost might be. So, end of the day, I know that's always, I don't particularly like to give them out, but it is something that, yes, the short answer is yes, they could see them if they requested them.
Okay, yeah, I've been in construction a long time and I do bids like this every day and say we buy it for $10 million, then we subcontract it out, and our goal is to keep it under 10 million. We want to keep it well under 10 million, and if I showed them that $10 million was what we have, shit, everyone would come in at $9.5 million, you know, and I want to make sure that we're doing things properly and like maybe hiding a little bit and not just giving away all our secrets right away, so to speak. Okay, that was all. That was my only question.
I don't know who's first. Councilor Bachschnider?
Thank you. I think that's a good question. I think that we have to remember, though, all our meetings are public. And so, I mean, if they did their homework and they looked for it, they probably could find it pretty easily. But if they do is another question. One question that I have, so the process for this was we went out for bids, and then I believe you hosted like a info session. So you could only, 2 info sessions. So you could only bid on this if you attended that info session. And that's because this is a large project, so we wanted to ensure that they had all the information. So did all 4 of these individuals host or come to one of the info sessions?
They did.
Perfect. And then did you offer like a Zoom info session as well, or was there only an in-person opportunity?
No, it was all in person because we wanted to make sure that they came and actually looked at the facility.
Okay, perfect. And then for the low bid, which is this Independence Heating and Cooling, where are they located? Are they around the area, things like that?
They are, and I believe they actually do a lot of work with the city already.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken, so.
Perfect. And then final question, what's the funding plan?
So that is the $1 million question, like quite literally $1 million question, right? So Britt did provide some information in the packet on what potential funding could look like. The total for the City Hall steam conversion has the library total in there. I think we can take off, I believe that's about $250,000.
So we can take that off of that total for funds still needed. So I think that would, can't math in my head, 650 then around approximately, rather than the $900,000 that we would need to still fund. We don't have the funds for that. That would be something that we would have to finance. And Britt did include some financing options in there, 15 to 20 years. The financing, it looks like, would be likely about $250,000 less than that, so 650. Yeah, so about $650,000. So obviously those numbers would be adjusted a little bit.
Thanks, Mayor. You pointed at me.
Yeah, Councilor Boxnager.
Thank you. I guess my question then will go back to this process piece. So are we going to approve this project prior to figuring out the funding mechanism? When we've done that, we've then not had the funding mechanism in place, so I do have concerns with doing that. Or can we do this, like what are we, I guess I'm just looking for a recommendation on this order piece. When are bills going to be coming due? Do we have the funds to do that? And what's the order we should be looking at doing this?
And I guess,
Megan?
I don't know if you had.
Yeah, definitely. What normally happens is we would not anticipate a bond sale until we know the bills are due. So that project usually does start before we do the bond sale for a reason, because we don't want to take out money and pay interest that we don't need to at the moment. So if we approve going forward with this bid, we would then prepare a resolution for the council meeting that any cost we've expended to date, or in prior to this, we can backdate any proceeds that we received prior to the date of the work starting. So basically, if they start work before the bond sale starts, we can pay that back. It's not, otherwise there's criteria. So basically, we'd be passing a resolution stating we know we're going to bond for it. We don't know what date yet, but it's coming, and we know we're going to pay off any of these costs for this. We have worked on the utility applications already for both the library and the city hall. We just have one little piece that we need to fill out, that we need the contractor to fill out. So we need to select a contractor to get those loans going. Those are 50% up front, so they will give us half of the money we need up front. So any of those material things that come up before we get the bond fund money, we could use that too. So there's some ways we could do this, but it's just really, are we going to have heat in City Hall and Library in October is the $1 million question.
Councilor Boxnader?
Thank you, and I appreciate that. So it sounds like then, if I'm understanding correctly, if we move forward with this, a resolution will also be prepared, and I just want to ensure that it's included in the motion that was already made, or like it's understood in this motion, that then a resolution will be also prepared for Tuesday night's meeting, talking about funding and how we will fund it.
Correct.
And then, Mayor, I know that you have some additional meetings coming up down at the state level. Is this included in our priority conversations that you'll be having as well?
Yeah, the revisor bill that was proffered by Senator Farnsworth will be part of that discussion.
Wonderful, thank you. And I did understand that. I just wanted everyone else to know as well that worst case scenario is that we will be fully bonding for this remaining about $900,000, but we are still having additional conversations at a state level to hopefully reduce that amount that we have to bond for. Is that an accurate summary?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And if I could just comment on that real quick before we go to Councilor Johnson. If things go awry and we don't get the funding, and then we're in an issue where we got to, I did have a conversation with Greg French about this issue. And Greg had indicated, there's a money that's going to be left over from the steam conversion, all those kind of things, and the ones that are coming in, and the money that's going to be left over after they shut it down is going to be set aside for the use of the demolition of the plant itself and the subsequent cleanup of the issues with respect to that. And there's be some money left over for that. I asked him, can you look at providing us some additional money? He said, well, we don't know where that's going to be yet. But the issue is, if it falls apart, I think we need to go to the Public Utilities end of the commission and say, look, this has to be done. How are we going to provide temporary heating and if we can't provide temporary heating for the steam conversion, et cetera. Where's that money going to come from? So built into that contract is put some temporary heating for that. So there's no quick answer about yes or no, whether or not there'll be funds available that could be leveraged by some money from the utilities. That's still yet to be discussed as well. So it's an option to look at. Whether or not it's feasible or not, I don't know. So thank you. Councilor Johnson.
To clarify, this is a motion to move forward the bid, which includes both City Hall and the library, correct? Okay, I want to make sure that we're very clear that they're not separate. This is one company that's doing the job, which means one mobilization cost, one of all those individual, should they be separated out?
That is correct.
Thank you. My other question then is, Mr. Reed, you mentioned that there's a stipulation that they need to get things done or provide services. At what point does that stipulation go away if we do not approve the contract? Like, I can't imagine them just saying in July, yep, we'll get it done if it's not approved. Like, what's that timeline look like when that particular part of the contract would go away?
I wouldn't, excuse me, I wouldn't say there's a hard, fast date on it. They are going to want to start as soon as possible, as soon as they can reasonably shut down, excuse me, the heating system at City Hall. So figure April, May, when they can do that. Furthermore, then if for some odd reason they get stuck with some exceptionally long lead time on some of, which they're not anticipating right now, but we all know how that goes. If something like that were to happen, then we might have to have another discussion. But I think if we wait too long into the spring, they're going to have justification to come back and say, hey, how are we supposed to be expected to pay for this if we couldn't even get started when we wanted to?
And I guess that leads into my request that we get a date from them, that after this date, we cannot meet those stipulations. Like, I think it's good protection for both the city, our buildings, and for the company. And it's their date to pick, I believe, simply because they're the ones, like you would, I'm concerned about lead time now as world things are changing rapidly. Gas prices just spiked, 50 cents in the last 3 days or some crazy thing like that. So I would want to have that protection so that we have, too many times we have set, well, it depends on, right, the 6-7 thing. Thanks, Matt, I appreciate that so much. That we really have something in writing that says after, and I'm not going to say a date because I don't know, then we can no longer guarantee this at our cost, that we would need a percentage from the city or whatever it is. So if we can have that for Tuesday's meeting, so we have concrete ideas of how we're going to move forward. So then we can approve it, because my goal would be, I would hope we could approve this on Tuesday, and then I would think all of those things go away. But if it gets put off on Tuesday to another committee of the whole meeting to another, now we're looking at the end of March, which is April, and then how much more time? So I really, my big concern is weatherizing 2 city buildings, and where do we meet, and where do we store, and where does staff work? Thank you.
Thank you. It's nice to have that timeline potential, but this building, they don't really know what they're going to get. They don't know some of the unknowns that are in this building that may cause some significant delays as a result of that. So the sooner the better. I agree. Councilor Bachschneider.
Thank you. And Councilor Johnson, thank you for the call out that this is both City Hall and the library. So that leads me to my next question, that on this packet on page 13, that this $900,000 of funds still needed is specifically just calling out City Hall. Do we have the breakdown for the library as well? Is that in the packet? And what page?
Page 12, the library base bid is $209,000, but then we need to add in the engineering portion of the engineering and architecture fees. So we're guessing that's about $250 total, I'm assuming.
So that 250, we don't have any funding for?
We do.
Okay, so that's what I'm trying to figure out right now, is what's the
It's actually
gap?
the 905, 800 minus 250, so it's about 630 something we would actually have to bond for.
Okay, so in addition to the 905, for City Hall, there's about 630,000 that we would have to bond for the library.
Nope, no, the library is covered by the utilities. They're getting a loan from them, so that's
Okay,
completely
so
covered.
it's a loan that we would be paying back, not a bond. So the bond amount is still this 900,
It's actually 600 something.
600 something.
Yeah, because I didn't take the library out, so I need to remove the library from that 905, 800.
655, 800.
Thank you.
And for Tuesday, I will get a new run of the impact to taxpayers with the correct dollar.
That would be
amount.
super helpful, thank you. And my final question then is, are these the last, other than the old fire hall, are these the last two buildings in the city that are city-owned that we have to convert? I know that we're discussing the fire hall, I think at this point, we're not planning on moving forward at it, that'll be a future conversation, but like, I'm thinking, like the senior center, that's already converted, like everything else is already done, is that correct?
Tennis for all we're looking at.
Yeah, and they have a grant for that. It's not STEAM, but
That's not steam conversion.
For those watching at home, Jim Rosett said the Tennis for All building, we're looking at a new system, but it's not conversion, it's something else that we would be looking at. And more than likely, I would guess not in this calendar year from a funding perspective. We probably don't have the money for it.
we actually have a grant to
Oh, we have
cover
a
that.
grant for it.
It's
Well,
tied-
then
it's tied
let's
with
do
our-
it. Lovely.
I know. Our solar panel installation at the Public Safety Center and the HVAC at the tennis building were in the same grant. So we're just waiting for the quotes to come in still.
Perfect, that sounds great. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor Boxmeyer. So it's been moved and supported to move this to the council meeting to approve the bids for this library and City Hall and library steam conversion to the next to the council meeting for a final vote. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Skalko. Okay. Oh, no further discussion. Okay, hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 4 is a discussion regarding the proposed rate increase for the storm sewer rates. Back on February 3rd, we had the discussion regarding what we anticipated the rates should be for storm water going forward for 2026. It was suggested that maybe we do not increase the residential as high as we increase the commercial and industrial, just simply in the fact that most commercial and industrial are larger lots than most residentials would be, and larger users of the stormwater system. So I did just threw out some numbers looking at a one-year rate adjustment. If we kept the single-family capped at only a 50-cent increase per month and increase the commercial, industrial, and public at different amounts to get to the dollar amount we're looking for of about $90,000 in a one-year rate adjustment. If we broke that down to the 2-year rate adjustment, keeping the single-family capped at a 50-cent increase per month, and then how that would break down, it would take us 2 years to get paid back for the pumps that we were looking at replacing and the culverts under 16th Avenue. And then if there was a 3-year scenario, what it would look like for an increase over the next 3 years.
Thank you, Britt. Councilor Barchneider?
Thank you, Britt, for putting this together. This is a helpful thing to look at. What would staff recommendation be for us to approach?
Yeah, I guess I don't have a real recommendation.
It's really what the council decide, you know.
It really is, what do you feel is palatable to increase rates to?
Is it better to rip the Band-Aid off and do it right away, or is it better to do it over 2 or 3 years?
Right.
You know, it's an argument either way, you know.
I would do it one time because you don't want to keep increasing it every year. I mean, I think that's a way to look at it anyway. Councilor Johnson?
Thank you, Mayor. And I would agree that a one-time increase with a plan to review annually or biannually, I think that's where we seem to be getting in trouble, is we adjust rates and then we don't look at them until there's an emergency or a need to raise funds. I also think if we do 50 cents right away, then is it feasible that we can start creating a backup fund again right away instead of waiting 3 years to start putting money in?
That was kind of the suggestion of Baker Tilly, that when they had mentioned that if you do a one-time increase, of course, you're paying for the one immediate thing you're looking for, which was the extra money for the pumps. But then if you continue, you're going to have that extra money every year to put whatever comes in. The influent pump goes out, the lid goes out, whatever happens, we would have a little bit of money to put back into the capital of the wastewater treatment plant.
Okay, thank you. And I know, I believe I asked the question about the multifamily units as opposed to, as opposed to singular house. How are we defining the high rises or the larger apartments as opposed to a duplex or a quadplex? Where are those falling on the chart? Because I would, even though they take up more area, the duplex next to me takes up a lot less room than the Laurentian or Alice Nettle. So I would like us to make sure, and maybe it's an additional level, I don't know, but I want to make sure that those properties with large parking lots and so on and so forth are not, and are not, that they are paying their fair share of what's happening within the system, and they're paying accordingly.
If I can get back to you on that, I don't want to misspeak. I suspect, I believe that the multifamily are 4 units or more, but let me verify that, if that's okay.
Yes, please. I just want to make sure that we're spreading the increases fairly. I will move these rates forward for approval and more discussion with the information to Tuesday's meeting.
A motion by Councilor Johnson, move this to the council meeting for additional information and a potential vote. Is there support for that? A support by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Councilor Bachschneider.
Thank you. For clarification, are you moving forward the 1-year rate adjustment with intention, or just to discuss these all again next week?
The 1 year, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's a clarification. Okay, moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
The next item on the agenda is review the resolution authorizing the City of Virginia to partner with the National Fire Safety Council for a community fire prevention and public education campaign.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
Support for discussion.
Support by Councilor Bachschneider. Further discussion. Chief, you want to come up?
Thanks, Chief, for being here. Appreciate it.
My first question, is it costing you any money? Okay, Councilor Bachschneider.
I just want to hear what he has to say,
Okay,
that's all.
Yes.
Chief Frederickson.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. This is something we do annually. They put together this letter. This is a sample. There are typos. We'll clean those up. But just seeking donations for fire prevention materials during Fire Prevention Week for the youth in our community.
And the police does the same thing in their safety council thing, where they solicit from businesses usually, and historically have contributed to for these materials to be distributed not only by you, by the police, but also in the schools as well. Thank you. Councilor Bachschneider? Nothing? Okay. Councilor Johnson?
Thank you. And Chief, this is not just like for Virginia specific. This is for our region. We support the smaller fire departments. I know when y'all come to the school, whatever school it is, there's a rig from Virginia, there's a rig from Vail, and the kids really love seeing the different kinds of trucks. So this is really a community effort supporting the whole area.
Exactly correct, and thanks for that clarification. Yes, all the departments come together. We have a presence at all the schools, so they help us, we help them.
Okay, thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome, thank you all.
Item number 6 is approve the amended access use license 13398 with RGGS Land and Minerals for the city's stormwater sewer line.
So move.
Support for discussion.
Move to approve by Counselor Bachschnider and supported by Counselor Johnson for discussion. Further discussion, Counselor Johnson.
Thank you. Are there any changes from the past, Britt?
I believe it's just the extension, the date has changed. Is that correct, Bill?
Mayor? They did increase the fee by $50.
So it's $350 for the however many year.
400 right now.
400.
It was $350
Okay.
for the last 10, I believe.
All right, I was looking at the old one.
Yep, the new one is the 400, and it goes through 2031 for 5
Okay,
years.
perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any further discussion? Moved and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Item number 7 is a request to approve entering into a joint powers agreement with the state of Minnesota to authorize utilization of the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension for fire department background checks.
So moved.
A move to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support for discussion.
By Counselor Bachschnider for discussion. Further discussion, Counselor Bachschnider.
Just a general update of what this is. Is this just standard of what we do? Thank you.
Yes, no problem at all. So this was several years ago through my job title. I inherited access to this. Upon asking more questions, I tried to cancel it. I've never used it. They provided that statute. I apologize, I didn't look in the packet to see if it made it there, but it's a statute change. Essentially, if we are backgrounding a new employee or new hire candidate that's lived outside of our state within the last 5 years, that has to come to me, essentially how I understand that statute change. I have not used it to this date in 4 years.
Well, it's wise to have that available.
Absolutely.
You have the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension helping you with background investigative checks, access to information you don't have.
Right.
Okay, thank you. Counselor Bachschnider?
Thank you. Is there a cost for this?
There is a fee for each use too. I believe it was $25 to $35, somewhere in that.
And only when we use it. I think that's
Only
the
when we
important
use
call-out.
it.
Thank you.
Correct, yes.
Thank you. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks, Chief.
Item number 8 is a request to approve the resolution for hire of 3 patrol officers.
So move.
Move to approve by Counselor Bachschnider and supported by Counselor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. I see we're losing another officer now to, the cycle continues. So thank you. Next item, please.
Item number 9 is a request to approve Brian Silver, Park and Recreation Director, to advertise for summer baseball coaches and umpires.
So moved.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Skalko. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Bachschnider.
Thank you, and thanks for coming, Brian, as well.
Brian?
Is this one of the programs that we do where it's a money in, money out, and it doesn't really cost anything to the city based on the fees that individuals pay to participate in the program?
That is correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
And then item number 10 is a request to review the resolution regarding correction to resolution number 25219, which is the detachment and annexation of 9th Street North between Mountain Iron and the city of Virginia. I have Matt Reed here. He can give a little input, Matt and Jenny.
Yeah, Matt, thank you. Could you give us a little synopsis of this resolution correction?
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Matt.
I don't know, maybe a month and a half ago, we had come forward with a resolution with a legal description for changing the city limit lines over around 9th Street North to help accommodate the ownership and transfer of a small segment of 9th Street North back to the city from MnDOT. through the legal review and through some of the state reviews, the whole area over there is kind of a mess, to be honest with you. But long and the short of it, there was a small, actually it was a 33 foot, what was half the right of way basically is what it was, that was determined to have been, the city charter had one description, the state had another description. Long and the short of it, rather than fight over it and drag this thing out, we just decided, let's make an adjustment. Jenny went to the Mountain Iron City Council meeting last night, they approved it. And so it's just a revision to what we had come forward with before.
Okay, thank you.
So moved.
Support.
Move to approve by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Bachschnider. Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate it very much.
And I have no further items of concern.
I just have one real quick one. March 9th, which is next Monday, I'll be going down, well, I'm going to go over the weekend down to the legislature. I'll be meeting with our lobbyist, Mike Jarek. I do have a couple of interviews or meetings with a couple of the legislators down there. Hope to meet with Farnsworth, but we are going to meet with the tax committee chair on the House side, which is Representative Davids. And we're going to meet at 6 o'clock Monday night and go over the issues with respect to what our Arlington Memorial Event Center sales tax collection is. Britta is going to work some numbers out for me so I can show where we may, we're on track right now to have that paid off within a certain period of time, and for support to move with what do we need to do in order to facilitate the continued use of that sales tax without any other further action by the state of Minnesota, because it's for 20 years, so that's what it says, and so we need to make an adjustment to that. And Representative Davies is aware of that, and he's open to that discussion. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a different question, so.
Oh, okay, please, Councilor Johnson.
You had mentioned at the last meeting that you would be meeting with the mayor of Hibbing about animal control. I was wondering if that happened and if you have any information about that.
As a matter of fact, Councilor Johnson, thank you for asking. We did meet yesterday at the Hibbing City Hall with Mayor Hyduk, with the part of the city team that utilizes the animal control facility on 37. We also had that further discussion with St. Louis County for the northern half of some collaborative agreement. We talked about a variety of options. One of them is instead of using a 501c3, maybe we look at a joint powers where we can contribute collectively to the operation of that shelter on 37. We're going to put together some type of a proposal for us to take a look at. And we do have an individual who has already been part of a shelter before, had worked there for a number of years, and has actually started a business plan. I met with him a couple of months ago. So hopefully they'll come with that together with that business plan. Chief Mattson is going to touch base with those two people, and then come back with some information for us to take a look at and to see if we want to continue moving forward with additional discussions with respect to that. We went over each individual contribution as to how many dogs and cats were collected both in Hibbing and at St. Louis County and us, and looked at comparison and what the costs associated with those things. The county does have the Mississauga Humane Society. They have a contract with the Humane Society for $25,000 a year, and then they're required to come and pick up the animal where they don't transport. So, I mean, and then Hibbing, of course, they don't have it. They're in the same boat we are. So we're trying to look at some kind of a collaborative. It was an initial meeting to discuss more information to follow.
Thank you. Appreciate that update, Mayor.
Yep. Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Okay. Anybody else has any other items of concern they'd like to address for the council committee of the whole today? Well, seeing none, thank you, everybody. We'll adjourn the committee of the whole meeting at 10:38 a.m. Have a great day, everybody. We stand adjourned.